This is Jim Luken, and I have this channel called Jim Luken Outdoors where I go out and talk about fishing and outdoor things in South Carolina. But today's a little different. Today I'm going to be talking about towing a boat. I find myself in a boat a lot these days, and I find myself towing a boat a lot. And I have a little bit of a unique situation here, an opportunity, I guess, in that I've owned two relatively new Dodge Durangos, one of which was a 2022 Durango GT Plus rear-wheel drive with a 6-cylinder, and the other was a 2023 RT Blacktop Edition all-wheel drive. And so I spend a lot of time towing my boat with both of these vehicles, and I was kind of surprised just how different the towing experience was. So what I'm going to do with this video is talk a little bit about the two models, tell you a little bit about the differences, and give you some insights as to why I think the towing experience is so much different between a Durango GT Plus and a Durango RT. And hopefully this will help you make a decision when you're buying a boat, since that's a big decision, and also when you're buying the vehicle to tow the boat. So one kind of bad thing about the Dodge Durango for towing a boat, at least what I discovered, was this receiver seemed to be a little bit oversized. And so when you would put a hitch inside of here and you'd be going down the road, there'd be a lot of rattling and shaking and a lot of noise. It was really annoying. And so I got one of these things, and I would recommend it. I got this at Harbor Freight, and it's called a Hallmaster anti-rattle hitch tightener. And this thing sort of goes over your hitch and braces on the receiver, and it makes a world of difference in terms of the quietness of your hitch while you're going down the road. So the Hallmaster hitch tightener at Harbor Freight, I'd highly recommend it. So some of the things I'm going to tell you today seem obvious, but maybe they're not so obvious. I don't know. I had to learn some of these things. So first off, if you think you're going to take your boat out, the very first thing you need to do is turn off park sense. Now, let me show you what's going to happen. If you back up to your boat and park sense is still on, as you get closer, of course, what's going to happen is it's going to start to tell you that you have a problem. So turn that off. One thing I do like about the Dodge Durango that I have right now, it has a really nice backup camera, and you know, it has this this centering line right here, which will pretty much guide you up to your hitch and tell you whether you're in line or offline or whatever. So the backup camera is really good on this Dodge Durango RT. Looks perfect. I'm going to do a little sag test here on this Durango RT just to see what a relatively light boat will do in terms of making the vehicle squat down when the boat is hooked up. So right now I'm looking at about 17.5 inches to the bottom of the hitch. Let's see what happens when we load it up. Well, we started at 17.5 inches and we ended up at about 16 7/8 inches. So it looks like the vehicle dropped down about a ½ inch, maybe a little more, as a result of loading up the hitch with the weight of the trailer tongue. That's pretty good, I think. All right, we're going to pull the boat down to the boat ramp and talk about some towing issues when we get down there. So I'll let you ride along while I pull this boat down to the boat ramp. And just remember, turn off park sense. One of the nice things about the Durango is you can turn on your rear view camera the entire time and watch your boat as you're going down the road, which is kind of nice. So one of the nice things, or one of the things I noticed right off the bat about pulling this boat with the Dodge Durango RT is how effortless is the engine has to work to pull this relatively light boat. When I used to pull with the same boat, exact same boat, with my GT Plus, which is a 6-cylinder, the RPMs when I was going down the road would clearly tick up when I was towing, and it was clearly, you know, revving a little harder to pull this particular boat. With this RT and the Hemi, I'm pulling it at 40 miles an hour just starting now, and the engine doesn't hardly ever get above 2,000 RPMs. When I'm going about 45, it pegs at about 1,500 RPMs. So the torque difference between the GT Plus 6-cylinder and the RT with the Hemi is really quite phenomenal. The one word I would use, I think, as far as towing with the RT is effortless. You don't really have to even press on the accelerator, and this will pull this again, relatively light boat right down the road. The other really nice thing is because of the added weight of the RT, I don't have trailer brakes on this boat, and again, we're dealing with around 3,000 pounds, maybe 3,500 pounds. Because of the added weight of the RT relative to the GT Plus, it seems as though I got better stopping ability, and let me just say, as far as the shaking and the swaying and the telegraphing of the weight behind this vehicle, it's really night and day between the RT and the GT. This one just feels so much solider, more solid and more planted going down the road. The engine pulls effortlessly. I don't really hear any rattling. I don't feel the trailer back there. It's solid, and I think probably the explanation for that is just the increased weight of the RT relative to the GT Plus. And let me also say that this RT has all-wheel drive, which also adds some more weight relative to the GT Plus that I own. So overall, it's a much pleasant, much less stressful towing experience with the RT. You've got the the engine hardly working. You've got all kinds of other things going on here that just make for a really nice and effortless tow down the road. So we're going to pull in this lot here and see if we can get some pictures of the boat and the rig here. Fortunately, it looks like there's some kind of emergency operation going on here, but we'll get in here anyhow. Now, I don't know if you can see behind me here, but here's the rescue dudes practicing at a boat ramp. You do not want these people to come after you've tried to launch your boat, so make sure when you back your boat up to the boat ramp, you got it in park and you got the emergency brake on, and always keep your foot on the brake. The relevance of this video about towing, of course, has to be put in the context of what I'm towing. Here's what I'm towing. It's a Sea Ark boat. I did a video about this boat. I made the attempt to estimate what this boat weighs, and I added up everything: the hull weight, the engine, gas, equipment, batteries, and I came up with about 3,000 pounds. Now, if you really want to know how much your boat weighs, you should probably take it to a grain elevator or somewhere that has the scales, but I'm assuming we're talking about 3,000 pounds here. It's not a particularly heavy boat. In fact, some people might consider this a really light boat, but still, it's heavy enough to me and you are going to have to be serious about what you're going to tow it with, or you're going to have some problems towing, stopping. As I mentioned, this is a relatively light boat. I mean, some boats can be 5,000, 6,000, 8,000 pounds, so relatively light boat. And if you buy a boat that's this size, it's highly unlikely the boat dealer is going to put it on a trailer with brakes. Trailer brakes are really kind of cool, and they really help a lot as far as stopping, but I've found trailer brakes are a real pain if you live in a saltwater or near saltwater environment. So relatively light boat with no trailer brakes, which has some bearing on you know, what sort of vehicle you need and how much effort it's going to take to stop this this rig. So as I said before, pulling a boat is not really a big deal. Stopping it, it's a whole nother deal. All right, well, you saw me coming down the road here to the boat ramp, and my general conclusion was really nice, effortless experience pulling a boat with this RT. Here's some fundamental differences between the RT and the GT that I think contribute to it. Number one, of course, is the Hemi. The engine in this thing is a torque monster. When I go to pull the boat out of the water, I don't even have to press the accelerator. When I'm going down the road, it seems like it just pulls the boat. It's not even trying. With the 6-cylinder GT, you know, it was working from time to time to get going, and the torque of the Hemi makes all the difference in terms of ease of pulling a boat in and out. Second, weight. Because this is an all-wheel drive vehicle, because the engine is heavier, stopping seems to be affected, and it just seems much more stable, and it seems to bring the whole rig to a stop much quicker. So you don't have that pushing of the boat because there's a lot more weight in this RT relative to the GT. And then thirdly, the sports suspension. You saw when I put the hitch, hooked it up and put the weight on the rear hitch, only dropped about a ½ inch. The GT Plus didn't have the sport suspension. It's much stiffer suspension in the RT. Makes a big difference in terms of comfort when you load that rear hitch with a boat hitch. It just feels like nothing is back there. So it's power, it's weight, its suspension. All of those things together make for a much more pleasant and easy towing experience. Now, there's been a lot of reviews done on Dodge Durangos, and of course the one thing people say is bad about the RT with the Hemi is it's kind of thirsty. Well, it is kind of thirsty, but I'm going to tell you, around town with the GT Plus not towing, I was getting about 20 22 miles per gallon, sometimes 21. With the RT, I get about 18 around town. So I'm losing about 4 miles per gallon. The difference, however, the big difference I think in towing between the GT and the RT is when I would tow with the GT, the gas mileage would drop from around 22 down to about 15. With the RT, I noticed it drops from about 18 down to 16. And so gas mileage wise, much less effect on the mileage with the RT, which is something you need to think about. By and large, I'm not really disappointed with the gas mileage on the RT. I took a trip not towing with this vehicle a couple weeks ago, and sometimes on flat ground I was getting up to 23 miles per gallon, which is really not that bad. So gas mileage is something you need to think about. A couple of post statements. You know, I think the Dodge Durango, regardless of whether it's a GT or an RT, is probably one of the best SUVs out there as far as towing is concerned. Its towing capacities are higher than most other SUVs, and the both engines, the 6 and the Hemi, have a lot of power, and they'll probably do your job depending on you know, what size boat you're trying to pull. Let me just say that, you know, whenever you're pulling a boat and whatever you're pulling it with, you need to be really careful. Drive slower. Watch out for traffic issues, because your ability to maneuver and stop is very much changed when you're pulling a boat. So always take more caution and go slow when you're going down the road. When you're at the boat ramp, you saw the emergency guys practicing over here. Every now and then, of course, boat and tow vehicle go in the water. You don't want that to happen. So my rules of thumb are, you know, practice. If you get a new boat and you're taking it to the ramp for the first time, go to a ramp on a weekday when there's nobody around, so you don't have a lot of people there. Practice backing it up down the ramp and out. It seems like a simple thing, but for many people, it's a difficult thing to back a boat down. Once you back down that ramp and stop, of course, put the emergency brake on, put it in park, and when you're pulling away, you know, switch your feet down there so you keep your foot on or near the brake all the time. And so it's a tricky little thing to launch a boat, and the bigger the boat, the more tricky it can get. So use a lot of caution when you go to the boat ramp. Keep your foot on the brake at all times. And when you get out, make sure you got the emergency brake on and it's in park, and just take your time. I've encountered a lot of people at boat ramps, and they're just so excited about getting on the water, and they create a lot of unneeded stress at boat ramps. And so this is Jim Luken, and I hope it's helped you in terms of the differences between these two Durangos, and hopefully also it's been a little bit helpful just in the idea of pulling a boat to your favorite waterway. Thank you for watching, and subscribe by hitting that little button down there in the lower right hand corner.